Are you ready to party? Let's go.
My beautiful people, welcome back to our next episode. This is the midterm elections. By the time you hear this, will be the day after elections, which will be Wednesday because we do every Wednesday. So it is what it is. But we're going to talk about the proposals that are coming out. And you look like you want to laugh, Jordan.
I wanted to laugh because it wasn't until this very moment that I realized this will debut the day after elections.
I had no idea.
So the game plan here isn't to try to help you get ready to vote, but maybe so now you guys know how we feel about the propositions. Which is probably better because then no one can get mad at us before the event.
Right.
We don't ever want to come in here and tell people how to vote.
Not at all.
We want to talk about some of the propositions that are coming on, but we want to first show We want to give a shout out to Evan Nelson, who is also one of our guest hosts on our monthly review. He had what was it, appendicitis or something?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Emergency surgery.
Insane.
Evan, I mean, not that I doubted he wouldn't survive anything. You know, look at him.
It's Thor.
It's still surgery.
Right.
Yeah. But he is Thor.
His Thor, though.
But he like the day or two before we were just recording that episode. Our monthly
was 2 days
review.
before.
Yeah, 2 days before. And next thing you know, I saw a picture. He's like, "Hi guys, I'm alive and healthy. I had emergency surgery." I'm like, "What the heck
It was
happened?"
like most low-key way to say that.
Right.
Things are good. I just got out of the hospital.
Well, yeah, and that's why I put it in our group chat. That's why I threw it out there to you guys. Like, "Hey, Evan, like, are you alive? Like, what happened, dude?"
And
So-
by the way,
Yeah,
real
go ahead.
quick, that was an amazing episode, actually. So, yeah.
Oh, you
They're
liked
all
it?
amazing episodes, but I just love hearing us on
Oh,
them.
okay.
dude,
I always
Spotify.
want to ask you guys
Oh,
this,
yeah.
but Sam, do you listen to the episodes?
So, I do.
You son of a bitch.
I do, but not
go.
not everyone. I like hearing. I like I like hearing Evan because I'm here, and I love hearing us, here, But then hearing Evan, without me being here, without my voice, just hearing you three just get down. I love that, man. I was like, oh, that's dope. Like I felt right there, like I always am.
Hey, do you guys like how I give you guys shout outs when you can't make it?
I love that's
100%.
another thing I love.
Oh,
yeah.
you're still part of the family.
Yeah.
Things
No,
happen.
actually-
It's all good.
What's funny, because, like, I'm not going to lie, I don't get through every one of them, or at least it's like normally I'll get like 15 minutes in and then something will come up and, it's hard to get back.
Podcast, damn.
Co-host.
No, but it's because what you're saying, like, being here through the process,
Right.
like I get to sit here and experience it and
Right.
be, but it's the ones that I haven't, when I'm like something's up and I can't make it or whatever. Dude, I love those ones.
Yeah.
Because it is like just what you said. It's like I feel like as I'm listening to it, I'm like, I'm there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
get you.
So it's
I
really
get you.
cool. Anyway, I could share that feeling, dude. It's cool.
Yeah.
I can't say too much because I listen to it a lot, but not all. But I like to critique myself. How could you?
Sorry.
You're the founder of this podcast. Well, because sometimes I want to critique myself.
Yeah.
And there's been episodes like way early on. I listen, I'm like, man, I need to step up my game as far as how I'm talking and the ums and
Yep.
and saying certain things.
Yep.
So,
We used to drop the F-bomb a lot more frequent
oh yeah,
on shows.
Oh, yeah.
We've done really good
Oh, yeah.
as far as, not that we're worried about that. It
Yeah.
just as far as like clarity within sentence structure, less profane. It's probably good.
It's funny. You said, I don't know, you said you dropped the F-bomb one time, and I was like, because you don't drop it much. And I'm here, and I'm just like, oh, wow. Okay,
Those first
dope.
50 episodes, it was like,
Boom, boom, boom.
oh,
we
man.
could bang, bang.
Kept it real
bang.
loose, though. It kept it loose.
Yeah, man.
No, it was good. It was good. But yeah, shout out to Evan. We love you, buddy. Heal up well. I hope you should be good by the next review, but we'll see.
Yeah.
No
we'll
rush,
will
baby.
you in here, dude.
You're still
Better,
part of the
yeah.
family, bro. We'll take your girlfriend instead. Whatever.
Yeah, even with his side torn open, he could still, he's
Right.
way stronger than me in every
yeah.
aspect. Yeah.
Seriously.
But,
Well, anyways, dude, let's get this started.
Get it.
You're gonna take this away here, Jordan.
oh, yeah.
You got it, buddy. You got the notes and everything.
Okay, well, let me use my Face ID with my brand new iPhone.
Hey.
14. Hey.
Thanks, Apple.
God, it took him like 28 years to finally get
Real,
one.
man.
That's fact.
Speaking
A
of which,
lot of green
I also
messages.
I got you guys Christmas presents already.
Already?
As your host and founder, I want to take care of you.
God.
No, and I'm not going to say what it is, but it is to help you grow. It'll
like
be
that.
something daily that you do.
Oh,
It's
that's
legit.
dope, dude.
It's freaking legit.
I was like, you bought us penis pumps? Tim is such a nice guy.
You're so stupid.
Just let it help you grow every day. It was an
Look,
easy
man.
segue, dude. I was like,
I think you're good. I think you're good. You have 2 kids.
I know,
mean,
I
we know
know.
you had sex twice. You know.
at least twice.
At least, bro.
I'm in the books, gentlemen. Put me down for 2.
Putting that game in. Yeah.
All right, back to hey, but
Sorry,
seriously,
Steve.
thank you. Yeah, that's
No,
really
it's
cool.
all good. Yeah.
I'm
Got it
s-
early, dude.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that.
That is super awesome.
Fuck you guys, it's on sale.
So, with more important
Oh,
matters
shit.
and the election coming down to tomorrow, which is in less than 14 hours. Anyway, we're just going to go over the props and kind of the structure. What we're going to do today is we'll just say what the prop is about, what the listed guidelines of what are pro or against, and then we'll just make some comments about it or maybe how we feel about them. So we'll just kind of run through them, and we'll start with the first one. Also, prop 1. Hey-o.
Yeah, well, real quick, too, just
biggest one.
to preface this so everybody know, we're not here. This is going to come out the day after the election, but we're not definitely on here to tell you how to vote. We are going to say how we feel about things. It's our own opinions. We're not supporting any government agency, anything like that, but if you don't agree, it's okay to disagree. That's why we have this show. That's why we talk to people. So it might get touchy with some of these subjects, but that's what this is about. So you can agree with us, cool. If you don't, cool. This doesn't mean we don't like you or think you're doing something wrong, but these are our personal beliefs.
Yeah, and I think the biggest picture of this is that like we don't want to be like negative towards anyone's personal feelings.
No, heck no.
You know what I mean? Like that's the beauty behind this is that like we can all say how we feel and what we think about something, whether it's a popular aspect or not, because I feel like everyone, at least that comes on here or we talk or we try to make it where like we can have differential of opinion, and that's great. We should, because that's the only way we'll be able to support our own causes, whether it further pushes you an affirmation of how you feel about it, or maybe it makes you question it, and now you're, are going to look on the other side of stuff. So but I think we do a good job at that.
Right.
I mean,
Try.
or at least we try, I'm sure everything is
And one more
pieced
thing
apart,
before we
dude.
get started, it was really weird. I already told you guys about this, but it's like, since we're doing well, we're getting progressive downloads, been doing this for almost 3 years now, getting new studio built, getting a lot of views. It was weird. I went and bought a new Garmin watch today for a lot of money. It was a G-Bar. Ridiculous.
Wait. Hold up. Before you drop this, I was just in the restroom and I just was washing my hands and I looked at the counter next to me and I was like, damn. What?
You see that watch, boy?
Just
Is it in the bathroom?
yeah,
I
it's
didn't
right there.
see it.
It's just bang, and it's got this massive face, and then he's got this gigantic ass gold. You know the gold watch he wears?
Yeah.
That looks beautiful just on the counter.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just
fuck
pretty.
his arm. Yeah.
Like it could be
Yeah.
in like one of those
Gold
like
watches and
magazine shots where it's
Right.
like gold watch on the table with the background.
yeah,
right.
right.
I'm gonna say I live a blessed life.
Yeah.
A lucky.
It's beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
But continue.
Yeah, well, I bought the watch. It was funny. I was trying to like debate to it. Do I get the 800 or I get the $1,000? I was like, if I'm spending 8, I'm going 1,000. I mean, we're
Get it.
out there anyways,
Get
right?
it, bro. Yeah.
It's cool. It's solar powered. I need to get a new running watch. This one's cool. Solar powered. It can run up to like, I think it's 80 plus days with the GPS and power, all this cool stuff.
What?
So it'll be good for my ultra runs coming up. That
Without charging, just because it's solar. Yeah.
yeah. So it'll be good for the charity runs and stuff we're doing. But I was walking out of REI, and this guy goes, Tim Fisher. I'm thinking, I hate when friends recognize me, because a lot of times on my day off, because I'm so busy, I like being alone.
Yep.
And some people find that super odd and weird, but I go to the movies alone. I surf alone.
It's dope.
But I like being like, it's my time to just like not talk to anyone. I remember thinking, fuck.
Yep. Damn.
Guy from work. Yeah. I'm like, man.
What?
Turn around. I didn't recognize a dude. I was like, oh, hey, man. I'm trying to play it off. He's like, Tim Fisher, what's up, dude? And I said, nothing. How's it going?
Hi.
He's like, cool. Let's go podcast. I was like, oh, you listen? He said, yeah, man. I love it, dude. Keep it up.
Wow.
I was like, thanks. And just left.
That's so dope.
That's
I did-
awesome.
I did say, I might leave a review.
Yeah.
You said, make sure you like it.
Like and subscribe, bro.
It helps.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
So, it was pretty cool. What we're doing is working very well. Very, very well.
awesome.
So, anyways, let's get back into doing what Take it away, Jordan. Jesus.
I got you, dude. And that's a good story.
It's great whiskey.
Because it is. And that's super cool to hear. Because it's always shocking, I feel like.
It's weird.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
Because you don't expect
You listen to it, huh? That's cool. What do you think?
Yeah.
Right, well, because
Wait, never mind. Don't tell me what
yeah,
to think. No,
because really, it's a radio show. I mean, we have YouTube, right?
Right.
But it's not like we're already famous and have anything, so it's kind of weird. It's happened a few times. I'm thinking, oh shoot, like we're doing something good here.
Somebody's watching the YouTube videos, bro. Yeah. That man right there is watching.
Yeah.
Yes. And he noticed you.
Yeah.
Bro. That's dope.
Yeah, it's dope. Keep it going, dude.
Yeah.
Doing good, boys.
Okay, back. So we're going to start with Proposition 1.
Spaghetti's just
All right.
meatballs with hair.
It's true. So Proposition 1 is the constitutional right to reproductive freedom. So it's the legislative constitutional amendment. And what this is basically the vote to basically write a more specific, well, I shouldn't say more specific. They're supposed to write a more ironclad that like a bill supporting that California will always remain basically possible to get an abortion in. Am I saying?
And then
does that sound
also,
right?
yeah, no, you're good. And then also adding contraceptives.
Right.
Right, but yes.
So it's
But abortion, does it say abortion up to how many? Like 9 months?
okay, so that's
one of the
where
things.
this gets
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
crazy because the bill itself is stating that they need to rewrite the structure of how it's written in the California Constitution within relation to abortion and contraceptive usage. So with this last year, with Roe v. Wade being overturned, right now instead of it being backed federally, it comes down to the states. And if you, depending on what side of the aisle you support or don't support this, you know that there are a handful of states right now that have already passed legislation that are limiting abortions to almost making them illegal. Right now, I'm not an expert in this, so I believe one state has it to where it's pretty much illegal to have an abortion. But the other states that are close to that have basically like a term limit of time before, the mother can go get an abortion. Now, as far as the contraceptives, like what's going to be covered, what's not going to be covered, I don't know that. And which that's never something talked about. So with my limited brain capacity, what it means to me is that those states that are trying to ban abortion statewide probably still like cover contraceptive use. But because you don't hear about it, it's like, so that's kind of what I think. But anyway, and I don't know that for a fact. So they could be banning both sides of it. But either way, so that's why this is a hot button issue. A lot of stuff came through this year. Now, with the voting, what I found to be interesting is there's like, look, whether you agree with it or disagree, in the state, if they're going to keep it, they need to have something written like more specific, I think. Because if you leave everything into gray, we're always going to, you allow for both ends of the viewing spectrum to shoot for the extreme, right? So if you're in crazy support of abortion and women's rights, the crazy side of that, extreme side, is you should be able to abort the baby like the 1 second before it comes out the mother's womb, right? Like they're saying that it is the woman's choice up until the point of basically crossing over into our atmosphere, right? And so that's probably the crazy side of that. And then the crazy side, oh my God.
Party foul, dude. Spilt the whiskey, dude.
Oh my God.
Keep going. I'll get a rack.
One now.
Okay.
Get it.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
No, dude.
And the crazy other side of it is, I know I was using my hands talking. That's the problem.
Limiting abortion.
Completely.
Period.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what the circumstance is,
Right,
like
right, right.
abortion, or I'm sorry, rape, incest, what have you.
Right.
That no matter what, you can't do it. Right. So that's the extreme other side of it. And so with this opportunity for the state to write, some sort of legislation, it kind of generates that, like, what are they going to do, right? Because if you read through the guidelines, and I have a couple of them up, and because I spilt, I got to keep these cords off here.
Yeah, bro.
But they're pretty much the same. But I'll cross-reference the one that's on the Secretary of State of California's website. And the pros are of what it would sound like is that you need to vote for this because we want to be able to keep abortion possible in the state of California, and we're not giving up women's rights for complete body autonomy, right? So it's like, okay, all right, I understand where that's coming from. But even on her site, it says the con is it's basically the I don't want to say vaguity because that's not a word, but the vagueness of what the bill entitles doesn't iron out anything to say like what the bill's going to say. So it can say like basically if we pass this, then we put it out to legislation where they can do with the oh my gosh, what's that position? I forgot. Oh my gosh, sorry. But when like the governor wants to pass something and it doesn't go to the vote to the public, but it goes to vote to legislators. Right. So this is where like the potential for they make it legal to be able to have an abortion up until the very second the baby comes out.
Right.
So that's what the fear is. That's what the con is to not voting for this bill, which I found that very interesting because I was like, to me, like if regardless of what your side was, the way it was written, I was like, damn, that sounds very extreme.
Right.
Like I wasn't even like, in all honesty, I wasn't even thinking that, you know, and I tend to lean more towards I'm not for it as much unless it's circumstantial, which, you know, I'm not saying I'm right. That's my feelings. You know, whatever, do what you got to do. But so with that even being read on the state secretary's website, I was like, wow, like, is the writing on the wall there that if it passes, this is the extreme that it will go?
Yeah.
And that was one of, who was Brocato? Cole,
yeah.
When he was on here, he was talking about, what's up? No, dude, I don't deserve another one. I spilled the drink. I'm an adult child. It's my fault.
You got that brownie, though.
I did. He saved it, though. It's so good.
Got some good stuff on the bottom of that.
Oh, yeah. It's the corner piece.
Hey, man.
I like the edges.
I love the edges.
But that was one of the things that he was talking about. It was an SB legislation bill, but that it was talking about they were trying to do that already. But to have in writing that you can have an abortion up until that very last moment. So I found that to be very interesting.
Right.
And I thought, I was like, wow, you know, because normally when I read those kind of things, like as much as I lean probably more towards a conservative outlook, that is one of the places that I'm a little bit more liberal with. And the reason being is that I'm not for like scapegoats of bad decisions for one-nighters. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if you knock somebody up or if they are aware of their own body that they're pregnant, they have a window of time that's safe to get the abortion, in my opinion, not a doctor, but, you know, like you should be able to make those decisions, you know, but I also feel like it's like you can't make it completely illegal because I think if you are raped or incest or something along those lines, like you should have that option as well. Right. So that's where it's like, for me, it's always, that's kind of always like a bit of a gray area one. But when the stuff was being talked about being able to abort a kid right before it comes out, you know, it's like, having gone through the process at least, you know, twice myself, not at least twice, but with my wife, and I'm like talking in the field, like delivering kids and stuff like that. You know, it's like, holy crap, like at that very moment, like that's a baby.
So I wanted to add to that too. I read something that said up to 24 months. So which would be 24 months, 24 weeks, which would be about 6 months.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, well, I mean, that's not, 9, but 6 is, I think they designated 6 as and I think that's what's necessary to designate when the fetus is viable outside of the womb. So they designated that as, the time period. So that's that point.
Right.
When you cannot have an abortion.
And I believe that's what it was here in the state, is that 24 weeks, which is the very end of the second trimester. And you're right. It's like the science textbook time period of when that baby or when that fetus is now more of a baby, right? And so it's like, does it happen like in 2 days? Does it happen overnight? Is it like a switch is flipped? Again, not a doctor, not a specialist, can't speak to that. But the way it's written makes it seem like, the fairy comes and sprinkles magic dust, and now it's not a fetus anymore. Now it's a baby. So now we don't,
Right.
But that was the thing, is that even before this all happened, before Roe v. Wade got overturned, before all that, we were already trying to extend that time period out. So it's like, it definitely was in those times of like, okay, well, it's like got all the parts. It's basically can survive outside the womb, potentially, I mean, so it's, I don't know. Anyway, it's very interesting conversation point, right?
What the Secretary of State's website is saying is that needs to be extended, or because I didn't see that.
So the website is not stating that any needs. It is being subjective, it is being objective in the way that it's written. Not saying like you should do this. This is what we're trying to stop. It's just stating that what a yes measure means and what a no measure means. So if it votes yes, that means that they'll have to write something up to more solidify and have that be something in the state's constitution. If it votes no, then it means it's not going to, right? But what that implicates. Right. So the voting, whether it's yes or no, is like, yeah, we got to do this because we want to make sure, women have complete body autonomy at any point, any time in their life. Doesn't matter. Right. And it's like, okay, for the most part, I agree. But, like that seems to me just really extreme. I mean, that's where, like, I'm sorry, I keep going back to how I feel about it. But that's what is being written. So it's not in any way, shape, or form like if you don't do this, you're a terrible person. It's just stating what the yes or no is, and it's just saying what the pros are. So the pros are is that they will write something, and we'll have more of an ironclad approach to this, and that's something that's going to be really hard to overturn, like for our state's constitution. But then that's just saying that the cons are that people are worried that if we just say, okay, if we're voting yes with no goal, other than just saying, yeah, write something. Well, it's fucking government, dude. When you say pass a bill, they're going to sneak as much as they can. And not when I say sneak, I mean they're going to move as much as they can through that because it's essentially like a fancy money laundering operation. But in my opinion, but it's just saying that like this is what potentially could happen.
Especially in a democratic state. In a
Yes.
blue state, that is something that is, has the capability of being pushed quickly and effectively, So
Yeah, like I was more surprised that they had the con part on there, right? Like I feel like it would be like this is what yes means, this is what no means, and here's why you should vote yes. But they didn't. They wrote it, which I was like, damn, that's pretty cool because I typically would think that in this state specifically, that they would not give cons to anything.
I've seen that they give cons. The thing that I'm like about is that I don't know if those cons go as far as they need to go. Like you can say a con, and a con can be like, like, yeah, you suck. As opposed to, this person killed people and this was in their background. So those cons can be vague. Would you say the vaguely?
Vagueness? Or no, vaguely.
Vagueness. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I feel like that can
Vaguey.
be something. Vaguey. Yeah.
It's not a word. Yeah.
That could be something that, if you don't give everything, then, nobody knows. And then that's what you put on the website. That's what you give people to see. Whereas, and that was part of what I was saying before the podcast, which it kind of, it's hard to vote for specific people. But, props are because they're given a lot of yes and no's, and this is why yes, and this is why no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, back to the prop. I like that all of the insight that you've given from that site, because I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I just went to a different site, and they gave the pros and cons and why.
Oh, okay. And again, right, it's just one of those things where I feel like probably the average person doesn't take an extra step to like cross-reference things.
Right.
Like you have your trusted whatever. And I mean, this is kind of like everything, right? When we're talking about news or like, it's really no news anymore. It's all just opinion shit that people put out as news. But at least, that's how I feel about it. But, but like with propositions, I'm like, dude, this shit's actually going to affect like where we live. You know what I mean? So like, I really want to have some insight to it before I just arbitrarily check yes or no, because I listened to a commercial on the radio that said I should do it. You know what I mean? And again, like I still like, you got to make that decision up for yourself.
Right.
I just think that was it was an interesting point because I was like, I didn't think about it until I read that. And I thought, oh, you know what? That makes sense. Because on the ballot, it doesn't say what is going to be written. It just says that they're going to write up, something to the Constitution about it. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Is it, and if you were going to guess, I mean, with the powers that be at the moment, I would anticipate it being something more like just complete, absolute freedom.
Liberal. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which again, it's like, cool. except like certain circumstances. You know what I mean? Like I was like, because that's like saying it's, I don't know. Then that's the whole like philosophical debate about
I
it.
love this time of year because the commercials, when political commercials come on, are so dark. They just go, they take such a hard, dark turn on it. It doesn't matter what side. It's always like dun dun dun, and then the screen's like going dark to white, dark to whit.
Yeah, right.
Person
Totally, yeah.
Stop, right? You were trying to like. I watch a lot of cartoons sometimes, just to like feel good. Yeah. And then it comes on, I'm like, God, you're killing my vibe,
Harsh
man.
and mellow, man.
Yeah, they said this, but in real life they did that.
It's like so and so supports China.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It doesn't reference anything about what they support, just that they support them. I'm like, that's a weird statement to make.
Right.
Well, it's like a fast. It's like a fast 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it changes and the volume gets a little bit louder, so you kind of, you're back in your seat. It's like they just take a shotgun and boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
geez.
God. Yeah. Yep. And it's like a quick 30 seconds, and then it's over, and it's back to like a normal commercial about freaking hemorrhoids or something.
Yeah.
And then you're like, with your left, kind of like, what the hell was that?
And then depending on what channel you see, you're continuously being shot with that shotgun.
Oh yeah.
Over and over and over. Yeah. And then you basically get, pulled into that particular whatever.
Yeah, you're like, I've never heard of this person's name before, but I hate him.
Right. Exactly.
You're like, I don't know what it is or why. And that's the marketing side. That's what they bank on.
Yes.
Because they bank on most people when it comes to like lower section voting. For when you're talking about voting for people, I feel like they bank on the fact that most people don't give a shit.
Right.
And when I mean don't give a shit, I just mean they're not paying attention to like the lower level stuff. It's like most people probably can't even tell you who's running opposed to Gavin Newsom.
Right.
In all honesty.
Yeah.
And if you're going to ask me right now, I probably couldn't tell you.
Right.
Because I was thinking about it on the thing. I was like, I don't know. I just don't like him. So
Bro, I'm so glad you said that, because I don't know either. I was thinking, shit, I don't know.
I'm like, you know what? I don't care who the fuck is running opposed to him. let's change it up.
Yeah.
I personally don't feel like it's working. So let's change it up.
Sure, dude. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was saying, I got a point to that. I got an email that it was from, I forget what site, but it was saying that black voters are transitioning to Republican. You saw that?
No,
yeah.
I read an article on that today.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like 17%.
Minorities. There's a huge shift in minorities.
Black and Mexican. Mm-hmm. Right. And I mean, they were saying a lot of it's because of the current climate, as far as the president and as far as what's going on, with gas prices, with the war, with the money that we don't have, And
I'm going to say right now, they screwed up because they hit people's wallets.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're crushing the middle class.
Right.
And when you start taking money from people and they feel it, they want to change.
Right.
And that's going to freaking happen.
I think they're crushing the middle class, one, and then they're also not giving as much as they used to. So, because the middle class has always been like, oh my God, they're taxing us.
You can't get you can't win.
Exactly. But then they were giving a lot to, the lower income people. Yeah. But now it's like, oh, we got to put this money somewhere else.
It's a funny thing, though. Be real, Sam, right? Because you have your African-American family. I have mine on my mom's side, right?
Right.
Dude, when has the Democratic Party stuck to their word to help with low-income black families?
Exactly. Never.
And I remember watching a video today, and someone pointed out, we're sick of it. Mm-hmm. We're done. We're voting Republican. You guys have done nothing for us.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, finally.
It's funny, man. It's because I've just thought about this a lot. The black culture and just the minority culture in general is very tribal. So we focus on we focus on us and what are we, what can we get out of it? And then if I see, my black brother or my Mexican brother, and I see them voting a particular way or doing something in particular, I think that they're doing that, and that's what I should do as well, because we look the same, and we're both against that guy, and it's we need to think for ourselves, and I've been constantly I've done that all my life in every school I've been, and it's been, it's been me versus everybody, or you, Tim, versus everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's wrong with you? You're not one of us. And it's like, whoa. This has nothing to do with us. This has to do with what I feel is right and how we can, we'll eventually grow, as a culture. But I think we need to first use this for us, and then we start to see, how it affects us collectively. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Sorry. No, you brought up a very interesting point. I actually really didn't think of it like that. But one of the other things that could be when you're talking about if you're talking about just whatever community it is that typically would vote Democratic, more so because of ethnic background and history and whatnot. What's interesting is you said that like they're seeing like you're seeing the financial distribution, but it's on a political stage now, right? It's not something that's just talked about in town halls. It's not something that's just talked about if you watch late night news. It's talked about constantly. And because of the social media influence that we have, that we're so aware of all this shit happening like real time, right?
Never before.
Like never before.
Never before.
Ever, right? We all have basically whenever you want to read about, know about anything in our hands. And these are this everyone has one. Regardless of what status and your socioeconomical situation, more than likely you have a phone and it has a connection to the internet, right? So what I thought was interesting is that as you start hearing more and more about the war in particular, right? You're thinking like, okay, if you hear that we've given $120 billion to another country to help support them, cool, except for the fact that we're still struggling here and there's that much fucking money to go around. And like when, and like what you said, Tim, it's like how many things can be promised without delivering on before you get to a point, which kind of seems like right now is a point that you're going to start instilling that distrust into those communities that would typically vote one way, right? Because of a communal, like you said, like a tribal thing, like, right? So, and that's what it's like. It's kind of like this weird double-edged sword, because I feel like we'll say Democratic Party, whatever, when it's talking specifically about African American and Mexican communities or Hispanic communities. I can say Hispanic, right?
Yeah, Hispanic. Yeah, that's okay. Fine.
Yeah.
I approve this message.
Thanks, Sam. But you know what I mean? Like when it's talked upon that, it's like, you see the fucking commercials. You see the political out stuff where it's like, you should do this because this is just what we do, right? We're going to be there for you. Look at fucking Maxine Waters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A champion of the black community, right? Maxine Waters lives in a $6 million house. Maxine Waters, can pay someone to wipe her ass every day and still be able to buy whatever she wants.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when she has to look at a person that is like on the complete polar opposite scale and says that you're representing them, like how does she do that?
She can't relate.
And I'm not. Look, I'm not picking her out. I take any politician,
right?
And that's my right or left side. Let's be real here. But like, that's the kind of shit when I see that, I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
Right.
And then like, but the voter turnout, the numbers, the percentages, it always seems to keep aligning. Now, that's a whole other subject with voting and all that shit. But and so it's interesting to hear things like that because it's like, well, good, And I'm not saying that like vote the other way because the other way is going to be this fucking, the sun's going to burn brighter, baby. Everything's going to be great, because it's not, it can't, right? But your hope is to like, let's break the cycle to see, right? And I think that's what we're seeing a little bit more.
People are upset.
Yeah, even as well should, man.
Even Democrats are sick of Democrats. You hear all the time, they're like, they've gone too far.
Nice, Sam.
Yeah, they've gone way too far to the left, and I'm always say I'm 50-50 on everything. There's a lot of things in Democratic Party I believe in. There's a lot of things in the Republican Party I believe in. But there's also BS on both sides. I'm like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But which is what you should feel. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what everybody. I'm saying. That's the most, that should be everyone's approach, is like, you look, I'm not, glass half full, glass, half empty, whatever, but like, be skeptical of politicians from both sides. You can like what they stand for, you can like that, but hold them fucking accountable.
Always.
At some point, I was like, everyone runs on that. Like, I'm going to be accountable. I'm the one for you. How did you get reelected? You didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like that. That's what. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the shit that. Dude,
it's word salad.
Crazy. Yeah,
it's freaking word salad. But it's. I personally think you were going to see a red wave.
Yeah,
that's just my thought.
Oh, yeah.
Too many people. They went wrong by going after the kids, vaccine stuff, and now you talk about hitting the wallets with inflation, the gas prices, and then people losing their jobs. So you're pushing people to a limit,
right,
and it's messed up. And you're almost making it to where our country is going to be the haves and have-nots. So we'll be no middle class,
right.
So you start hitting people's wallets, going after their kids, you're going to get people to start voting different.
Right.
That's my own opinion.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. That's what I've talked to people about. That's what I've been reading in some articles. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But please continue with your next proposition.
Jordan, real quick.
Yeah.
Tim mentioned something on the gas prices. I was reading some stuff, and it's also interesting how we're opening, or Biden is he has the gas tax, and then he's also not drilling, and we have plenty of.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, and he's trying to blame it on Russia, Ukraine. It's his policies.
Right.
It's his own policies. They're screwing his people.
Right.
It's completely ridiculous.
Right.
Start drilling, dude.
Right.
It is what it is. They're worried about some freaking turtle or some tree. It's like, look, man, welcome to life. Everything's going to perish one day.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. 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 And we all have the same air, by the way. And we're over here buying oil from, Saudi Arabia.
It's crazy.
Bringing oil over here. What?
Why are you putting that power into the hands of our enemies? That's the dumbest thing.
Yep.
All they got to do is one day flip the switch,
Yep.
dude. We're not going to produce and give you anything anymore.
Exactly.
Well, that's okay. We're going to be all solar one day.
Oh God. That's one of the props.
It's not going to work.
That's
Can you imagine if everybody in LA right now had electric vehicles? And you take summer when it's hot and everyone's got to go charge and all this stuff, and they say flex alerts. Hey, you know what? You can't charge today, and you're not going to be able to charge at home because we're going to black out certain areas.
Hell no.
Only for like
Now-
6 hours.
Yeah.
Right. That's all.
Now, what happens to the food in your refrigerator? That
Right.
goes bad at some point.
Yep.
That's more money down the drain.
Yep.
Now, how are you going to drive to work? How are you going to take your kids to school? Soccer practice. It's not our grid cannot support everybody having electric vehicles. On top of, a lot of people can't afford an electric vehicle.
Right.
It's very expensive.
Right.
So now you're saying they need to go buy some $40,000 to $50,000 car, brand new, and then the used ones are just as much as the new cars.
Mm-hmm.
Now this person's probably, let's be real, they're going to have a $400 to $600 car payment, if not more.
Yep.
Right? On top of how much registration is, because electric vehicles are considered luxury vehicles at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a $500 payment. Now you're paying to charge. You can't charge all the time, but you also going to have to pay registration, which is going to be $800 to $900.
What?
You're crushing people, dude.
What?
And I don't remember if I said this on one of the other podcasts because I feel like we talked about it, but it's a relevant story. So just to give people that didn't listen, if they didn't listen to this, like a perspective of what this could do for our state. There was a study done in France, and it was like I don't know how they split them up, whether like territories or like districts or states or how their country split up, but it was a large area, and they took they wanted to do basically no more cars, like no more gas powered cars, all electric, right? And see how this will work. And there was a big communal buy off. Like they pretty much were all electric, and this trial lasted for 10 years.
Oh wow.
So it's been going on for a while. So that's why I thought, I was like, this is actually kind of interesting because this, as far as like a short-term study of effects of all electric and how it benefits or doesn't, right? I thought, okay, so I'm in on this article, I'm reading about it. And basically what happened is that one, the massive push for everyone to go from not gas powered to electric was a massive load on the infrastructure, right? So just think about it right now. If we all switch to all electric, there isn't enough charge stations, there isn't enough, so everyone's got to do it out of their house. It's going to overload the system, right? And what they found is that the system itself over that period of time wasn't able to deliver effectively enough. When I mean the system, I'm talking about how the electricity gets out, right? So they're being overpowered. Now, again, are we talking is this like rural areas? Is it like all city? Is it not? It's probably more, I mean, again, I don't know the area, so I don't know. I'm taking a shot in the dark. Let's say it's 50-50. Either way, it slowed the grid down quite a bit. So what they came up with to try to readjust the consuming rate was they have to increase the cost of the kilowatt. So now when this first started, to charge your vehicle costs you $12. It makes sense. It's all electric, the emissions, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Well, because the system can't sustain it, what do you do? I mean, this is like capitalism at its finest, supply and demand. The demand goes way up. So how do you shorten the supply? You charge more for it. Yep. So you're going to start limiting people. So at the end of that 10-year span, what once cost you like $12 to fill up your car was now costing over $100. So that's why I thought, after reading that, and again, this is one article. It could have been just a straight opinion piece. I'm not going to say that this is absolute, but a little bit of economic background. This does make sense to why. And if you look at the different things as far as like, look at our, how much energy do we truly produce from wind? How much energy do we truly produce from solar? For us to say like, because we have 12 years or 13 years to go all electric now in this state. Yeah. Okay. So unless I start seeing massive power grids of solar fields, like, how are we going to do this? Because we already know that, like, the wind tunnel, like the wind energy stuff, it's a great idea and awesome, but it doesn't sustain. It's not enough. I mean, like, go out to Palm Springs. There's fucking thousands of those things out there. Right. And they still take energy from Vegas. Right? Because then they have solar fields out there. Again, it's like we're just not there yet. Right. But to think that it's just going to be like, oh, we're just going to be good. It's all good. No. Where do you think that money's going to come from? It's going to come from your registration. It's going to come from other taxes that are going to have to come up on that because they're going to have to charge more to make more, to build more. Exactly. So it's like if everyone, so that'd be like saying that everyone just has buy-off and like, we're willing to do anything it is to make it better no matter how much hardship or fucking down it could push people in this society. And I find it, the people that are in way support, like a lot, like they're like hard up on this, are the people that have money.
Billionaires,
and
bro.
The people, or just not even like, look, like us.
Right.
And it's like, I have friends that are totally for it. And like, look, that's great. And I hope one day we fly in fucking space. You know what I mean? I loved the Jetsons as a kid. I'd love to fly. I like Back to the Future. I wish I could fucking fly around and it's all electric and we could live off the trash that we fucking throw. Dude, it'd be great. But it's just not feasible. No. And it's not fiscally responsible.
Well, look what happened in Texas.
Yeah. There we go.
That huge freeze over.
Yep.
So many people got screwed.
Yep.
You know what they use? Generators. You know what those run off of?
Fuel
Diesel,
oil, baby. Oh, yeah.
Diesel. Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's important that we, so I like the idea, like
totally
we're going to move in that direction. But what I don't like is the, this is a hard set date. And this is what we're going to, if you like it or not, this is what we're doing. I believe that, we should all, and this is humans in general, evolve and transition, But when they say, this is it, this is what we're doing. And, we're not using gas at all after this date. So you need to figure out what you're doing with your life, Jordan.
Yeah.
You need to,
like, oh, okay.
That truck you got outside, bro.
I was like,
that truck and my
gone.
truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gone.
Yeah. You better have another $80,000 you can drop on a vehicle.
ASAP, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well,
you know what I meant.
Yeah. Man, if they don't, I don't know. We can move on to the next one, but I think if they're really pushing for this, new energy thing and everyone like electricity and electric cars, I think you'll start seeing more people leave California.
Oh, for sure.
It's not going to, there's no way that the middle and lower classes are going to be able to do that.
Right.
Everyone's on fixed incomes right now.
Yep.
It's crazy. I mean, the politicians, Newsom doesn't care. He's a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
He was given a house, which was illegal, but hey, he was given a house after he got elected.
Yeah, you get it from Nancy.
The old crypt keeper, dude.
Yeah. First name basis.
What's your next proposition?
So, anyways, we'll move on to some more lighthearted topics.
Yeah.
So we can just talk about them both because they kind of intertwine, even though they're separate props. There's Prop 26 and Prop 27. Prop 26 is the sports betting on tribal lands, voting yes or no.
Hot topic.
Hot topic. Yeah, and if you've turned the television on in the last 6 months, you've seen a shit ton of, do you support this? And they say, yes or no, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of money that's being pushed into this. And here's why. So on tribal lands in the state of California, it up until this point has been illegal to have sports book betting. So if you know what sports book is, typically probably a Vegas reference. When you're in Vegas and you want to bet on some sports teams, they have the sports book you go to, and they have the spreads and lineups and odds and all that stuff, and you can waste your money there. Mm-hmm. Or win a lot. I just am not that person.
Same.
But But what this is going to do in Prop 26 is to, if you vote yes, it'll allow these casinos that are here in the state of California on tribal lands to be able to have that, which, my personal opinion, I think is great.
Right.
You should be able to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb that they don't. But I did read something about that was also interesting. And I have a little background with tribal stuff. We won't get too much into that. But if you've ever been into a casino on Native American ground, because we have a handful of them around this area, when you play roulette or craps, they use cards. Or there's not a person rolling the ball, it's automated or it's digital or whatnot. There's something with Vegas, I don't know if it's Las Vegas or just however it was voted on the state, that they're not allowed to have a person actually rolling the ball for roulette or having a customer, I guess in this case, or gambler, be able to roll the dice for craps. So this would be huge to do that because now it's going to draw that attention to you can have real Vegas gambling here in Southern California. Again, which I think is rad. I hope they do get it.
Yeah.
So I am definitely in support of that.
Right.
Now, what's interesting about these two and why I said they correlate is because Prop 27. Prop 27 is the yes or no vote to allow for sportsbook gambling via your cell phone or app base.
I want to just add something real quick.
Sure.
The portion of what's generated is taxed. So that's for 26. Is it 27 too? Portion that's it's taxed and it goes to state, to fund the state.
Oh yeah, no. So all the this was something that was passed. Well, I mean, this was before Arnold was governor.
Okay.
But one of the big things that he did while he was a governor is that he increased the tax base for tribal gambling, like the what they earn on it. He increased it, but gave them carte blanche on how many machines, how big the facilities can be, because before they were capped. So, and again, I forgot which year that was, but if you lived in an area that there was a Indian casino, that in that time period afterwards, a lot of them had grown exponentially. Big towers, and now all of a sudden these are Vegas style, and they're beautiful. I mean, there's a ton of money and time, and believe me, they know what they're doing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, which I thought was well, fuck, dude, right on. So now instead of making a couple million or maybe 10, 15, now they're making $1 billion, but a quarter of that, or it was 24%, I can't remember. It's one of those two numbers, goes to the state. So I was fuck, right? You know what I mean? Hey, dude, it's make as much as you can,
right?
Pay your fair share,
right.
Or your whatever you deem fair, I guess, and I don't know what that number is, but that 25%, that seems like a good deal for them, and they can expand, right?
Right.
But there were these parameters, so that's what Prop 26 is. Now it's expanding those parameters. Now I don't know if there's an increase in tax base that is associated with that one. I didn't read anything about that, but doesn't mean that it's not. And typically they coincide together. There's always something to kind of give up to get type thing. But Prop 27, that's where a lot of the commercials are, it's very confusing. So I'm going to try to explain this the best way I can, and I'm not an expert, so I just want to give out the disclaimer, because if someone's listening, they're you don't know what you're fucking talking about. And I'll be you're right.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot, but I'm talking, and I'm on the mic, so suck it.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding.
That was a good effort. That was a good placement.
Oh, thanks, man. But yeah, no. So with Prop 27, why it's interesting, right, is that the bare bones of it is, yes, if it goes through, that now you're going to have these outside companies like DraftKings, FanDuel, Barstool Sports, MGM. There's a couple other ones I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but they all are already operating in other states. So it's California is a big one, though, right? And they haven't gotten it yet. So if this passes, then you can, on your phone, you can do sportsbook betting, right? And the counter argument to that is that if you watch the commercials are stating that there are a lot of potential native tribes that you're going to be affecting by taking money away from what they will earn by having people not go to casinos. But they're not saying anything about Prop 26. So that's why it's kind of this weird deal, because they're you can't say that because that's what they're trying to pass so they could do it at their casinos. But they don't want, which makes total sense. Yeah. You want to funnel people to have to go to your your casino and,
Right.
and gamble if they want to do sportsbook betting. It makes total sense. I just find it ironic. But what's super weird is that there's tribal groups that support both sides of this yes or no on 27. And if you dig into that just a little bit, you'll find that the supporters of Prop 27 that are stating they're from tribal nations or tribal reservation, I don't want to butcher it, but you see
reservations. Yeah.
right. You see that it's the ones that don't have casinos.
Of course.
Because part of this proposition is that a chunk of that tax that they will have to pay to the state is going to be allocated for these reservations. Right? So these people, they probably worked out a deal with these other companies saying like, look, if you give us a portion or whatever, whether they can't have a casino there or it's not advantageous position because there's lots of tribal land in areas that you just wouldn't get people to drive to, to go gamble and make the money that you see at these big wig ones down here in Southern California.
Right.
So you have this, like, they're in support of it. But then on the other side of it, you have the, like, if you do this, then you're taking money out of the hands of these Native American people. But the ones that are representing it are all the reservations that have these billion-dollar casinos on their lands.
Yep.
Which people they get money for that, which is great. You should if that right on. It's like a great scenario for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, it's like that's like super hypocritical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're sitting there going like, okay, because you happen to be born into a tribe that's very wealthy and you collect money and all this great stuff that's going for you. Right on. But now you're going to look at your other people, your brothers as Native Americans, right? Brothers and sisters of that. And you're going to say like, they shouldn't get that, because what I don't see on there is saying like, hey, if this doesn't go, we're going to give you guys X amount to take care of you because for whatever reason up until this point, we haven't.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't know the exact numbers. I'm not sitting here saying, and maybe they do give them some money. But having been on many different Native American reservations, some are definitely balling and some are not.
Yep.
And the ones that are not are like, dude, they're hurting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, where's that cutoff? You know?
You know what's funny is that I got a boy that does love to bet, and he's told me the same sort of scenario. When you go on, there's certain ones that are thriving, and they're booming, and then there's ones that are just falling apart.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's going on here? And you're like, this is a Native American, this is Native American ground. Like, what's going on? And he said the same thing. And it's funny how you just said the difference between 26 and 27 and how I watch, I kind of watch a lot of football, and I've noticed football, I think maybe NBA games as well, they push 27. And nobody talks about 26. I didn't even know, until I started, looking at the propositions, that 26 was, was a gambling proposition.
Yeah.
And then I read this, and I was like, And then you said that, and I was like, oh, what? So it makes a lot of sense. They're also talking about just casinos that aren't on tribal land, not aren't on tribal lands, but that are that aren't. I don't know how to
like not Native American,
right?
Like Hawaiian Gardens or Commerce Casino, like those ones in L.A.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. So that's the thing too. I love that you gave that further insight. This is maybe why. You don't
look, it makes sense, right? I totally get why the casinos that are being backed that don't want to have it, but are also pushing for Prop 26. Like, I totally get it because you want to maximize your profit revenue. It makes sense. It's economic. It's capitalism at its finest, and you're in a power position where you're going to be able to influence certain things, and that's what you're going to do. I get it.
Have you guys seen the commercials though? It's like it's like look at it's like
it's so deceiving.
Family.
It's deceiving.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very, very deceiving.
Yeah.
When it's like, if you knew the amount of money that those places made, they could take care of every Native American on tribal land that's registered to those tribes. They can fucking make them
for a long time
fat and happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but again, and I'm not saying that they should. I'm just saying that, like, stop it. Like, stop pretending that, like, you're you're doing society a service by withholding that, like on the back end going like this, which again, it's politics. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that shit.
Right.
No, dude. It's almost like God, they've been talking about like propaganda.
It is propaganda.
Literally.
That is the
It's almost-
definition
dude.
of propaganda. Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
It's
right.
like mind games. They're trying
Yeah.
to get you to believe and think a certain way. It's almost as if they don't want people to be free thinkers. They want to make the decision for you.
Yeah.
No. Be a free thinker. Be open-minded. Make an educated decision.
Yeah.
Don't let people tell you how to live your life, right? I run on that all the time. That's my biggest model. No one's going to tell me what I'm going to do with my career or where I want to take my life and things I want to do. So why am I going to let somebody tell me how to vote? I'm going to go off my own morals and the things that I believe in.
Yeah. Or at least just like a lot of these things, like I don't know, like the information should be just as much for both ends of the argument.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like that's just what's not pushed. And like I understand why, because it's influence. I mean, we talk about we talk about the bullshit within social media and the news and that. We talk about it all the time. You know what I mean? But which is no surprise that it spills over into this, more like, and of course, into election stuff for sure. But I mean, that would be the hope, right? Is that like, because like what Tim said, you know, make an educated decision, having been educated on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what it boils down to. Because you could still feel that way. Just be like, no, I don't think that that's right. It's like, okay, cool, but you should at least be able to understand both ends of it.
Right.
So, I mean, at least I should say you should. That doesn't sound good. I would hope you would want to be,
Right.
you know, but I think the reality is that you're just not, and most people aren't. And you're going to hear that, and probably whatever the last commercial you heard, there's probably a stat behind this, but like the last commercial you heard about it is probably the one you're going to go with, like especially if it's a tweener. You went, that was a fucked up commercial. I'm voting no, man, fuck these people. And then on the back end, they're like, woo! Fucking worked.
Gotcha.
You know what I
Gotcha.
mean?
Yeah.
You know, but I did. You know what I did appreciate though? At least all the propositions this year or this time around were written where there wasn't like a double. Is it a double entendre? Where there was like, don't not do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a vote yes is to vote yes for the other way. You know what I mean?
The
'Cause
election guide, it does that.
yeah,
It
and there
does,
was one, the
yeah.
last ones where there was one, I forgot which one it was, but it was like, it won like unanimously because the way it was written made it sound like if you were voting for yes, you're voting for it,
Right.
which it wasn't. If you're voting yes, you're actually voting against it.
Double negative, bro.
Yeah, double negative, yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of interesting. But
Right.
let's see, the next one,
One more quick one. We're
Okay.
getting close on time.
yeah,
but
yeah,
Get it.
Doing great.
no worries. We want to do the art pack. Do you guys know much about the dialysis
Yeah.
uniform one?
Well, that one's been a big one that's been pushed during sports games as well. I don't know if you
Yes.
guys have seen that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of platforms are pushing that.
So
Is
just,
that to have more doctors and nurses?
MPs
Yes.
and PAs and MDs and
Because we deal with this a lot.
Right.
yeah,
where it feels.
so
Okay.
So yeah, so I thought this would be kind of a good one, and we can end it on this one. We'll,
Yeah,
we'll make
yeah.
we'll make it quick, but just because I feel like we both for sure have insight on how
yeah.
these places operate, which I'm not saying like they're great because people rely on dialysis to stay alive. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? So, but the bill or the proposition is basically if you're voting for it, you're stating that like, yeah, we should have like these regulations on these places that are going to have X amount of doctors, X amount of nurses, X amount of nurse practitioners, LVNs. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the specifics, but it's basically setting up a standard for if you're going to open one of these spots, you have to have these people at the facility. Now, the other side of this is that if you do that, there's a lot of these places that are probably going to shut down because of the cost it's going to take to fund a doctor, multiple nurses with the credentials and whatnot to stay open. Now, I think on the surface, you would think, yes, either way, you should have personnel there. And I can tell you in my experience, like we've run a lot of calls at these types of places and things happen. And when you don't have someone there that's able to articulate medically what's wrong with this person, it's very easy to be like, what kind of business are you guys running here? You know what I mean? So I feel like my initial side of that was like, I'm going to vote no. Like we should have, I'm going to vote yes. We should have doctors and nurses and stuff on site. But I started reading about it a little bit more, and it made me think, maybe it didn't make me change my mind, but it made me question a little bit more. Because then I started thinking like, okay, so let's say not every dialysis center is a conglomerate business. right? There are smaller owned ones where maybe like they own one or own two or three, right? But they're putting these centers in there to deliver a service to people that are in dire need of having this done either every 3 days, every 5 days, every other day. Dialysis is a huge, and it's a big moneymaker, I'm sure.
And so people know, like, if you don't know what dialysis is, this keeps people alive.
Yeah.
You're talking about pretty much filtering their blood, cleaning their blood system.
Because their livers, they don't like their liver's not functional or kidneys aren't functional. So it's a necessity to keep the toxic stuff, we'll keep it basic, the toxic stuff that builds up in your body that can cause you to die. Right. So it is an absolute necessity for these people. So what I found to be interesting is that I started thinking about it, and it was kind of like, look, there should be change in having, these places should be. I mean, they're medical providers. They're making a lot of money. They should be in tip-top shape. They should have, people, not saying that dude, if you get a job there, like you're educated on how this shit works. Like, let's be real. You may not be a great nurse or a doctor, but like, you know how to operate the machinery. You know how to do this. And when shit hits the fan, what do? They call 911. So that's where we interact with a lot of these people. That's crazy. And I'm not saying that's good, but I'm also saying like it kind of is what it is. But at the end of the day, like if this does truly shut down multiple places, now you're hoping that these conglomerate businesses will be able to open up and fund those ones. And I'll be honest with you. Just look at everything. Look at every other big business. I don't think they'll do it. What'll end up happening is they'll probably shut places down and triple the cost of you going in there because it's a supply and demand issue. And then you'll have people start dying because they're not going to be able to just go to every ER and get their dialysis that day. Yeah. Right? Because there's a shit ton of people that are on it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that they would buy them up?
I don't know.
Question.
Because as they shut them down, like, I mean, is
if I was a big company owner, I would.
Or Fresenius, because the top two supporters of that prop are DaVita and Fresenius, and they're huge.
DaVita,
right? DaVita,
they're everywhere.
What's up, girl? So are they really gonna let them shut down, or are they just gonna become more of a conglomerate? Which you were just saying, they're the ones supporting the prop in the first place.
So that's the part of it that's the unknown, right? Because that's not on the information that's coming out there. And unless, look, hey, shoot me an article, let me read it, and I'd love to change my thought process on it. Just from what I know, what my experiences have been, and what I've read up until this point, makes me feel like it's just another one of those gray area things where it's like, yeah, we should do this and make this mandatory. Well, it's like, okay, cool, but now you're taking all the smaller businesses out of it, and it's not like, look, you can't hire one doctor that's going to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. That's not going to happen. So you got to hire multiple ones. If you only have one, and you're providing, let's say, what do you get, 50 patients a day, 20 patients, 10, I don't know, whatever your business plan is, you'll definitely wipe out those smaller operating ones. And will they get bought out? Depending on, the profit margins is what it'll boil down to. Mm-hmm. Because if you're the big business, now you're like, okay, we got to get doctors there, we got to get nurses there, we got to hit the quota of everything we need at this spot. And if you served an area that maybe only had, 100 people that you relied on that week, if a big business comes in and goes, that's not worth it financially, we'll open up 20 miles over here where we can capture that. And what if now you have transport issues with those people that are there, right? So it's like it's a weird one, right? Because it's like you can really make the argument for both ends of it. So I was like, keep that in mind. Well, hopefully when you vote, hopefully you listen to that a little bit.
Which prop was that again?
That was prop.
I don't have it memorized, but I knew that was on there because, at least for me, somebody I care about and love dearly. Her father was on dialysis and she was in like high school or whatever. So she went through a lot. And I that one's kind of a big deal for me. I'm like, ugh. And I thought about it the same way. I'm thinking, dude, they're going to have to shut down because they're not going to be able to afford that.
Yeah.
So it's a real, I'm not going to say how I'm going to vote. You probably can tell what I'm going to vote. But it's kind of, it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, dude.
Right.
Yeah. Like, why are we trying to do that? And I remember somebody made the argument like, well, my daughter can be a PA and work there and she's going to make a lot of money. That's if they're open.
Yeah.
A lot of these places, like they're, I wouldn't say they're making millions, or maybe they are, but it's like it costs a lot to run that place.
Right.
Especially medical facilities. There's a lot that goes into that. And then not just, your doctors, PAs, or whatever, but you also have so many other staff that are in there cleaning, taking care of.
It has to be incredibly sterile inside these spots.
Oh, yeah.
They're open to normal atmosphere.
And I don't know what the profit margin is, but you start saying they have to have a certain amount of doctors. No doctor is going to go in and be like, work for $40 an hour. That's going to be expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
That's going to be very, very expensive. And then to find the ones who want to do that and have the qualifications.
Yeah.
So looking at that one, after knowing what this person that I love dearly went through with her father, it's kind of like, I don't know, man.
I think it's a big thing that you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And what I'm wondering is, like, who decided it was broke or somewhat broke to be able to, to say, well, maybe this is needed. I mean, I get it because, like you said, Jordan, this is something that I looked at and I was like, yeah, for sure, but it's not. Look, I used to manage urgent cares, and it's not an urgent care. It's not that intense.
Yeah,
it's different.
It's like an outpatient, like
Outpatient.
kind of be like an outpatient deal, not like surgery, but kind of, because like it's a process to make access to the ports, and then they got to sit on the machines, and it's got to cycle through. It's like, I don't know, like 10,000 cc's or whatever, like these huge bags so that they filter
sit
the
there
blood
for
through.
at least an hour, I think, right? 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, dude, they're there for a while, right? And like, but you do need people to check on them because you're worried about people being hypotensive, or you're worried about, any kind of like nutrient abnormalities because you're flushing their systems out at one point. So you do need to have educated people that are aware of the potential. But then it's also saying, like, having gone to a bunch of them for calls, you know what I mean? They run and they seem like they're, I don't know. In my small sample size of what I've dealt with in my career, I feel like overall it's been pretty good, and could it get better? 100%. But be specific about it. You know what I mean? If you're saying like, hey, if you vote yes, this means that we're going to have a nurse, let's say, and not nurse practitioner is very admirable, but I think it's one step lower than a doctor, or whatever that step is. Be like, hey, on every single site, we're going to have at least one there every time it's open. Make that the proposition.
Yeah.
Don't make it like another grayscale, like, we're just going to make sure that there's higher, medical experts there.
Yeah.
Okay, what the fuck does that mean? Because then if you have a special interest group that happens to be DaVita, they're going to come in and go, hey, our representatives are going to be in your control group to help create the new parameters for that. And then we're going to give you $40 billion. And next thing you know, now you have shit that's going to wipe out all your other competition.
Exactly.
But that's how politics works.
Well, hey, look, you want to go down, if you want to go down conspiracy theory, I mean, you wonder why they do this, right? There's probably arguments for both sides, but let's be real, right? The medical care system is a for-profit system, and the more you heal people, the less money you're going to make.
Yep.
And that's why you can talk about this with cancer and some other diseases where a lot of things I've read, there's a lot of good things they could do to, I don't want to say cure it, but really tackle some of these this bad stuff that's killing people and making humans suffer. But they won't approve it. They won't do it, right? Maybe shutting down all these, or making it to where they have to have these doctors and nurses or whatever, and it shuts down more. Now you're going to have the bigger companies dominate. There's less competition, more money to be made.
Yep.
More people might die or not afford it. I hope not. But do they care? The reality is no. These big companies, medical companies, do not give a shit about you or what you're going through. What they give a shit about is money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Politics behind it, and who they support is going to back them, so they push that proposition. It's all money, money, money.
Yep.
All it is.
Well, like you said, dude, there's like, you just take one thing, cancer.
Yep.
Right? I was like, you're telling me like the chemotherapy business is going to be like bought off on some miracle drug that can end, let's say, one of the cancers that chemo treats.
Right.
No, because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
And
that's fucked up. That's why I always thought that'd be a great movie. Like, get Liam Neeson, because he's the actor for it. He loses a family member to chemo, and like who's been on chemo, finds out that the doctor was withholding some drug that could have saved his loved one or whatnot. And then he goes and kills all the corporate fucking shitheads. And, and then pushes this drug, and then some, kind of like side person who's like, I'll invest in your miracle drug, and then cures fucking cancer. Liam Neeson.
By himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Well,
I don't know why I picked him.
I just want to say, by saying that, by the way, I'm healthy. I am not suicidal.
Yeah.
In case you find me in the next week or so.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. I was like, if I'm dead in a couple days, it's not by my choice, I assure you.
I'm not sad. I am not depressed. I love my life. Things are going great. Not suicidal. So just to let you guys know. But real quick, too, though, did you guys see what Elon Musk did? Elon Musk?
Yeah, he's up in Twitter.
Okay, so he
fact
real
check.
quick, dude. No, this is amazing, right? I love it. Okay, because we're running out of time, but he made it so now people have to pay a monthly subscription for that blue check mark, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And celebrities who are making millions are all upset. It's like $8.99 a month. It's so dumb, right?
Yeah.
But when you do that, right, it asks you like, I think it's like, who are you? What do you do, right? What's your gender? It's male, female, then other. And if you check other, this is so gangster, dude. If you check other, it makes you go to a link and sign up for like this like therapy group, and it's and it's like, but it's liberals gone wild. It's just a website liberals gone wild being like crazy Karens.
No way.
So dumb.
Oh, dude,
Oh my God.
I was like, my man Elon, dude.
Gangster.
Dude, I thought you were
Don't
gonna.
give a shit.
Gangster.
I did not hear that. That is
No, I read it.
Truly, that is very. It's
Dude,
very funny.
It's
Yeah.
gangster.
Because like I just saw and like I tried to find it. That got removed, but
It's so
apparently they
funny.
fact checked one of the White House like posts. Like
it's completely
They
wrong.
put down. They're like, because of the Joe Biden administration, like we're able to do so and so. Whatever, it was a percentage of an increase of something that they were trying to say it was because of them. And then it said fact check. It's like because of the law that was passed during the Nixon administration or the Reagan administration for blah 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 blah. And then used like the title code and subset. I mean, it was like a very, very specific fact check. But it talked about the tax that was pushed through for the percentage increase or whatever that they were talking about to counter what they were saying. And I was like, God,
Dude,
that's crazy.
Oh, ever since Elon has taken over, a lot of the White House or POTUS, their stuff is being fact checked hard. Like it's straight lies, and it's showing right there. Actually, you're wrong.
Yeah.
This is the inflation. This is how much gas really is still.
Yeah.
Oh man, they're just getting annihilated right now. And to see how many of the liberals just lost their mind when Twitter was taken over by him was Elon. People may not like him. I love that he doesn't care about what anyone thinks, no matter how big they are. The dude pulls their IPO. It's not public anymore, which means he doesn't have to go to the board, right?
Yeah.
Now he can make a decision all he wants and doesn't have to get approval.
Yep.
Genius.
Love that.
Completely genius, dude.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. Well, this is a private business. We can do whatever we want.
Whatever we want.
And then
Yeah,
like,
if
I'm
you
gonna
don't-
leave.
Well, and
You're
then-
like, whatever.
And then
Yeah,
he
bye.
didn't. He
See you in
didn't.
a month.
He didn't tweet it, but it was a person who responds, like, say it's like HR, but like their PR person said,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is a private business. If you don't like how we are doing things, take your business somewhere else, or learn how to do code and create your own platform."
Gangster, gangster, gangster,
Done.
gangster. Gangster,
Done,
gangster.
baby.
Woo, woo.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Dude, it's
Gangster.
just awesome.
Yeah.
I freaking love it. And then today, real quick before we go,
Get it.
Elon told everyone he's voting Republican. First
No
time.
way.
And he suggested
Interesting.
you should too.
Wow.
Yeah, straight up.
Crazy.
He's like, just to let everybody know, like, I'm an independent, but I've always voted Democrat. But this is the first time I'm voting Republican.
Saying.
And
Wow.
you should too. I was like, my man, dude. You know how pissed off? Oh my God. You got to think this administration, liberals are pissed.
yeah. Well.
But look
yeah.
what they've done. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come
I
on.
mean, that's a whole.
Nothing
Yeah.
they've done.
That's how I
It's a
feel.
whole nother episode.
That's how I feel about it. And like, I don't want to start because I know we'll rabbit hole into a
Go.
bunch of
We
shit.
can go
But
far.
Oh yeah.
it's interesting time, and vote when you go. Hey, look, vote for what you feel is right, and if what you
Absolutely.
feel is right.
Absolutely.
If you feel good about it, then great. And if it disagrees with any points made on here, right on, and I'll support that too. You
Yeah.
know, I would hope. The only thing I'll say to that is that, like, I don't know. I kind of just feel like I don't like to make a decision on shit unless I can talk about it.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Whether that's going back to being educated on something, and I'm not saying like you need to be a specialist, but at least I can have like,
Yeah.
other than being like, yeah, I'm good with that.
Right.
You know, be like, here's why, and that's I think that's a lot to ask from people, but
But no,
that's-
no.
I also feel like if you're voting,
Yeah.
you're voting on something that could actually change our situation. Like you should be able to talk to it just a little bit. Maybe not just thinking, yeah, it sounds good.
I think what you said, vote on what you believe is right, means that you took the time.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
Right. So like if you believe it's right, then, you should believe that because you believe it. Sam believes it. Tim, Jordan, we know like this is what I want to do, but it's not because of my demographic, who is around me, my parents, my kids, whoever, my brother, sister, like what did they do? Because of my skin color or religion.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
a huge
one.
thing.
Yeah.
Abortion. With all these things, I think religion and race and culture are huge. And in some ways, I think they're too big. I think we're all first and foremost individuals. So we vote for and we believe what we believe.
Right.
And that begins with us. And then it moves into, because there's so many other demographics and other categories that we exist in besides our religion and our race.
But when it's voting time, though, that's what it's about.
That's exactly what it is.
You know what I mean? That's just what it is. But hey, fucking 8 weeks from now, no one gives a shit. Just in case you're wondering. It's true. Powers that be will do what they do.
They'll do whatever. Yeah.
And then one day aliens are going to land and realize that everything's fake.
We're going to go, damn it.
Yeah. So all this was for nothing.
Yes.
No, you guys have great points. And I this episode's going to air the day after the midterm elections. I hope that everyone exercises their right to vote. I come from a military family. We here on this podcast respect the military. We have that right to vote because of the men and women who died in so many wars in the past to get us to where we are now, to have the freedoms we have, to have these conversations, to be able to vote Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever you want, and to make yourself anything you want in America. So please take it serious. Please vote. It is absolutely your right, and we owe it to our military and the people in this country to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
man.
Well said.
yeah. Other than that, you guys,
I don't want to
I'm going to say,
Right?
well, let's go on 3.
no, Sam and Jordan, great job, guys. I was just hanging out tonight. I was like, man, this is nice to sit back, dude.
Right.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Take it away, son.
Yeah.
Shit.
No, good job. I like it.
Dude, I love it.
That was cool. It
It's
was
fun
really
to
cool.
talk about, and like you said, all the above, and do what your heart tells you to do. And hey, either way, we're all going through it together.
Right.
You know what I mean, so
Well, dude, you and Sam led tonight. So when do you guys take it away? End it. Let's go.
well,
This is
let's go. Let's go on 3, baby. Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go. Come on, do it.
Bye, everybody.
And that's it. Thank you for listening in, everybody. We'd like to thank our sound engineer who makes this podcast happen and makes us sound very good, Stephen Clark. And to our first sponsor, 89 Barbers. Look good, feel good, be great. Come get your haircut at 2 locations, Long Beach and in Orange, California. Your appointment can be booked at 89barbers.com. That is EIGHTNINEBAB. BARBRERS. 89barbers.com. Again, look good, feel good, be great. Check it out. It's my barber. He is the man. Thanks, everybody. Bye.